Shivs.
And I'm Nats, and together we are the Sisterhood Circle podcast.
Our vision is to create connections with our community and inspire change in the world.
So be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to find out more.
So let's dive into today's episode.
So welcome to episode 6, the last of series 1. How did that happen?
Just like that.
Wowza, now, today, you've got all things grassroots to full-blown bush. Now, did I say it right?
You definitely said it right.
But I have never seen a name so appropriate for a podcast to chat about all things hormones.
Yeah.
So this is a meaty one today. So we're just going to get into the absolute nitty-gritty of grassroots to full-blown bush.
This is a topic that's I'm super passionate about. You're passionate about it as well, and I think that you absolutely need to be as a woman, because it's vital. It's so vital that we know our own bodies. And one I don't really get shocked massively a lot, right? And as I'd said in one of the previous podcasts, I had written a programme called Unwritten, the Female Master Plan. Not last year, the year before.
20,
yeah.
And
launched it in 2024. And in the course there is it's like a 2-hour seminar basically that we talk about hormone health and what that is. And in my first course, I ran a course in Irvine and up in Paisley, and I had women ranging from 20 up to 70 coming along to do this course, which was amazing. Now, when we did this seminar on hormones, it completely blew my mind that women up to the age of 70 had no idea what was going on in their bodies for their whole entire life. And I think that when you're really, really involved in the industry, you just think it's a given.
Yeah.
When it's actually not. And I think that the reason that I'm really, really passionate about it is I believe your cycle is your superpower.
Yeah.
Like, it genuinely is. And if you can get in control of what's actually happening in your cycle and what that looks like, and also if your cycle is right, I think that's like, if your body's working properly, I think that it becomes a superpower for you.
Massively.
It really, really does. So I really wanted to kind of deep dive into that.
Yes, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, definitely.
And as you say, you call it your cycle is your superpower. I think like your cycle is such a big part of you, and it is with you for such a long period of your life that if you don't know what's going on in it,
it can run riot.
It can go a wee bit mental.
Yeah.
And everyone, or not everyone, sorry, a lot of people talk negatively about their hormones or like their cycle, about, oh, I've got my period. And you're like, do you know what? Like, it's actually a gift that you get that every single month.
Yeah.
Like, it is a sign of good health.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
This is it.
Getting a period every single month. Be like, do you know what? My body's healthy.
Yeah.
It's doing what it's meant to do. But I think the reason why I'm always like, oh my God, people need to know more about this is I think back to when you first get introduced to what your cycle is, what your period is, right? And I remember sitting in the drama room at Whitehorse Park Primary School with a nurse and all us girls sitting like that. And it was pretty much, right, round about every 4 weeks, you're going to have this bleed. Go to like your mum, she'll sort you out with what you need to get. And
that's it.
Yeah, there you go. And I think that it might be different now. So if
It
there are any teachers listening, right, and I'm on here going, oh my God, that was terrible, please let us know if it's different, because it's been a wee while since I was in primary school.
And a little bit longer
I was
for
not
me.
going to say that, but I did think that. But you've got to know what goes on in your body. You've got to know the stages of the cycle, how long it should be, roughly, to know when something's not right.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is huge.
For sure. So your normal cycle, would be anywhere between 28 and 32 days. That would start off with your period. Your period coming in. For any girl, that can last anywhere between 3 right up to 7 days is normal. But during that time, your hormones are at their lowest possible ebb. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are all as low as they can possibly be. So the effect that then has on your mood, how you're feeling, your energy levels, you're more injury prone at that point in your cycle.
Yeah.
You probably get a lot less va-va-voom and a lot less patience.
Your VAF haven't got up and gone, man, at the point of your period. But yeah, energetically, you're going to start to feel some changes there. You're likely going to be a lot more tired. You're going to feel like things that normally are all right to do in life all of a sudden become that little bit more challenging to be able to do. But understanding that makes you feel like it's going to be all right.
Like, you're not just bonkers, like, firstly, because this is what a lot of women that I speak to think, do you know what, like, these 2 weeks that are leading up to my period and the week of my period, I'm like a crazy person and I'm always starving and I'm da-da-da-da. And I'm like, whoa, calm down, it's okay. Like, let's get in tune with what's actually happening here. Let's start accepting what's happening with the body.
Yeah, rather than fighting it off and start to understand it. And as we go through the different 4 stages of your cycle, it's important to monitor what's happening at each point of it.
For you?
Yes, because as much as we're going to come on today, we're going to be like, right, okay, so when you've actually got your period, this is what happens. Then you're going to go into your follicular phase and this is what then happens. It's easy to take that as gospel.
Yeah.
As in every single one of our bodies is so different. We will all go through the stages, but we'll start to experience different things throughout those stages. Even if you and I compare like our cycles, we go through the same stages, but like we're at different points of creativity and different points of energy that you're at in comparison to me, which is really important. So I think this probably dives into a wee bit further than what was expected, but one thing, absolutely track it all.
Oh yeah.
If you're looking for something really easy to track on, there is the app Flow that allows you to track not only when you've got your period, but the symptoms that come with that and throughout the other stages of it as well.
Definitely, it's a great app.
Yeah,
it really is. So yeah, definitely, I think that when we are talking here, just to be very clear, is this is a normal cycle. This isn't for anybody that has polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids, or any of those types of things. This is where we would say a normal cycle would come in. So as we said, you've got your period, your hormones are pretty low, at their lowest kind of possibly, but after 3 to 4 days they start to rise a little bit and you're moving into your follicular phase. Now this is quite nice because estrogen's your bestie. She's starting to come to the party.
Things are good again.
Yeah, like you're starting to feel a wee bit more creative. You ain't quite as hungry, which is good.
Your patience is returned, which is really good. Normally at this point in your cycle, if you're training consistently, it's when you're starting to feel a bit more at yourself when it comes to training again. Your strength is starting to feel like it's the way it was, rather than maybe 7 days ago when you were raging that all your hard work's not been paying off, and your want to train can often be a wee bit higher at this phase as well, which is a nice thing to have in your sights.
Yeah, so energy levels starting to increase, feeling a wee bit more like yourself, starting to feel like you've got a bit of a supercharge about you. This is really, really nice. You're in a good mood. You want to be a bit more sociable as well. You're quite happy to be around other people and connect with other people because you're starting to see these rises in your hormones. So that's really, really nice that that's starting to happen. And then
good old ovulation.
Yeah.
So it does.
And with ovulation then comes your release of your testosterone and estrogen at the same time. I'm on the test. On the test. This is where you're going to be rattling out personal bests. Running, the gym, your mood's great. You're going to be horny, right? Yeah, you're going to want to jump the bones of anybody that's coming near you. Not if you're married, the only one. But anyway, just clarifying that, just one bone. So just to go back here, because I think that we were going to jump forward onto the luteal phase, is the follicular and ovulation phase. See, if anybody is trying to get physical results, whether it be like fat loss or weight loss, those are your prime times.
Yes.
Right? Those are the times where your appetite's going to be quite a significant amount lower, and your mental strength and resolve and probably like determination and drive are going to be a lot stronger. So it's quite a good way to kind of break your month up, that if you were trying to get, say, weight loss results, that you would say, right, these are the 2 weeks of the month that I'm going to try and get weight loss or fat loss, and the next 2 weeks are where you maintain. Because your body needs totally different things when it comes to nutrition at points of your cycle.
And you've got to really get in tune with that, because see, if you know that, you can manage your expectations.
Oh my God,
right? And see if you can manage your expectations, the consistency then comes. I think people feel like they're really motivated at points in the month, and then they're like, was dead motivated last week and I'm just, I can't really be bothered. And when you look at it, you're like, right, okay, so she's went from like that follicular heterovulation, she started to come into that luteal phase where things are starting to get a little bit harder again.
Yeah.
Hormone levels are starting to change, it's starting to get ready for you to have your physical period.
Yeah.
Energy's going to start to drop ever so slightly.
Yeah.
That strength that was feeling like its absolute best is going to start, not automatically, but it's going to start to feel like it's getting a little bit harder as you prepare to actually have like your bleeding phase of your cycle from there. And when you get to really know that, that's when you can manage what you can do.
Yeah.
Throughout the month.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like it's so important to know these points of your body. Like see when you start going through that point, your luteal phase, it's when progesterone's starting to rise. Yeah. And that's like it's the make the baby hormone, right? And if you're going to make a baby, your body is then going to say, right, it's time to hibernate, right? Like come on, start chilling out a wee bit. And you maybe find that yourself, you're a wee bit people do.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call it.
Defo.
Have you ever noticed me being people do Nats?
It was funny when you said about like patience at one point. I would never say Shivsy's not patient. But you can definitely see a little change in that point. And it's not a bad thing. Like I know you so well that when I see it, whether it be like energetically or maybe just your wording, if something's been slightly different, I'm like, I must be nearly the time of the month.
Yeah.
And you know that it's not a negative thing. I know for me, personally, it's very easy. Because you say, hi Nats, how are you? And I will literally cry you a river. Right? And you're like, oh shit, shouldn't have asked her. But you've got to get in check with these things.
Yeah,
and I know. We talked about obviously like the 4 stages of it, of what like your ideal cycle would be and what should really be going on within your body. But the reason why it's so important to know that is to know what's different if that's not happening.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's a really, really powerful one when you're tracking things, is to understand or to know, first of all, through education, what should be happening with your body, so that see when you're maybe got a period that is slightly different to what you're used to, whether you've had a period that is slightly later and you're like, oh, what's going on here? Like, this is all wee, like, knocks at the door, as you would call it, to, like, your hormones being like,
something's not right here.
Something's not quite right here. Yeah. I think the reason that I probably feel so, like, passionate about it is I think if we can know this from a younger age, we get so much in tune with our body. Yeah. And the more in tune we are with our body, the whole round better that everything is going to then become. So if we can educate our younger people on what should happen in their body, they can identify when something's not right. And we spoke about what tends to happen historically in younger years is you start to take your periods and your mum is likely going to end up with you at the doctor's if maybe something's not right, or she's like that, right, okay, she needs to be on some form of contraception. You go to the doctors, and for talking sake, say we're saying that there's something not right with a cycle, whether it been, right, it's not really that 28 to 32 days, it's shorter or it's longer, or these periods are really heavy and they're absolutely flowing her. You end up at the doctor being like, something's not right here. Any experience that we've really heard or that we've experienced personally. Yeah. Like for me, I went to, it was a nurse that I went to at the time, and I knew something wasn't right. I knew that I was ticking a few boxes for like something called PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I was like, I need to go get this checked out. And I sat down and it was like, how can I help you, Petal? And I was like, right, so I'm here and like there's quite an inconsistency with my period. Like this is what's happening. I'm finding that there's no regularity to it, finding that things like facial hair are starting to appear, and I think that I might have PCOS. And she literally went, right, let's check your blood pressure. I was a bit like, right, okay. Let her check my blood pressure. And she was like, right, give me 2 seconds. So what do you want? And she handed me a family planning leaflet with any form of contraceptive that I could have wanted to have because my blood pressure was okay. And I remember saying to her, why do I need that? And she was like, oh, well, we've got a hormone imbalance, so this will sort it. And I was like, but if I've got an imbalance, how do I know what it is? And she was like, oh, it'll just sort it, regardless if it's like your estrogen, your progesterone, if you've got slightly higher testosterone levels, like it'll sort it out. And I was like, right, okay, I'm just going to leave that, thanks.
Do you remember you phoned me?
Honestly, I came out. And it probably took me quite a lot of time to get to the point of going. Yeah. First of all, so I'd like work myself up to
be
like, right, okay,
really nervous,
I need to go into this. Came out and I remember getting in the car and I phoned, you know, how did you go on? And I was like, she gave me a family plan.
And off my
And
nut.
I'm laughing, right? Because I'm like, I was strong enough at the time to go, that's not what I need. And I managed to get a doctor's appointment and get the right steps put in place. But see if you're not, what then is going to happen is I could have taken, for talking's sake, the contraceptive pill off of her that day.
Yeah.
Could have jumped into the chemist, got my prescription, I started taking it.
Yeah.
And it would have started to sort out my cycle because it would have been putting synthetic hormones into your body to sort that. But all it would have been doing is giving me a synthetic period and putting a band-aid over the situation.
And this is the challenge that we're having right now.
Yes.
This is the huge challenge that we're having right now. And I think like one of the things that I feel very passionate about is medicating children, right?
We're just so passionate about all of
it. Right. So see for me, right, this is the way I look at it. The brain, up until the age of 25, your brain is still developing. And we know that hormones play an absolutely vital part in development of the brain. Yeah. So what we're going to do with some young girl, so that we're not even talking about you here, we're talking about a girl that's 13 or 14 and she is bleeding through pads. If the first thing that we do is give her medication, instead of saying, why is she bleeding through the pads? Why are we not saying, why is that happening, instead of this will fix it? And I think that this is maybe like this, I feel wildly passionate about the pharmaceutical industry. Now that is a story for a whole different day.
That's a podcast.
That's like a season, right? That's a season within itself. But I think to myself, are we doing our girls a disservice by not allowing us to maybe explore why that period is like that, or why she's got cystic acne? Like, why is that happening? What the links? What are the links? Yeah. There is a huge link between these things and insulin resistance, which again is a story for another day. We don't have enough time to talk about all of this, right? But your hormones are your absolute superpower, and they are guiding you towards, like what we had said, those gentle knocks at the door. And if we are then saying, right, okay, do you know what, go on the jag or go on these tablets or whatever it is, are we really giving our bodies the chance, or allowing ourselves to explore what's going on in our bodies? Yeah. Like that. Our bodies are trying to tell us things, and I know so many women that this has happened to, that they have been given the pill, and they've been on the same pill from when they've been 13 until they've been 50, right? Yeah. They've taken a wee break to have their children. How much does a female's hormones change in that point in their life? And they're still on these same pills. But as well, I know a lot of women who have had issues with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and like my brother's girlfriend, for a start, like this was wild years ago. She had really big problems, and I was like that. Like she was at the doctors all of the time, and I was like, listen, why don't you like ask them about this PCOS? And sure as hell that's what it was. After all these years of suffering and them putting her on everything and no really looking into it, you just think, what a disservice to the females there.
It's huge. I think you do feel like there's that massive disservice when you go for help, and it is just like that solution. I think, as we spoke about earlier, like step one's education. Starting to educate on what's going on. Step two has to be willing to explore.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, when we're coming on and we're chatting about this today, by all means, all forms of contraception have their place, and for some people,
and I'm
using the contraceptive pill is the right answer, like whether it be the jag, the implant, whatever that might be, is going to be a solution for people at a point in their life. But I firmly don't believe it's a solution to your cycle's not normal. There you go.
I fix it.
Right?
Yeah.
I think like that's got to be able to be explored, and you just go, there's a disservice at that early age when it starts to go wrong. But then that carries through to the disservice in later years when people are starting to experience perimenopause, they're starting to then be menopausal, and they've been so out of touch with their hormones because the solution has always just been take that prescription, just take that, as in see if you know what is going on in their body. If there was a bit more blood work done a little bit more consistently, what would that start to show over a period of time? And you go, how can there be a better female health scheme? Because it is our health. Like when you look at when we get to the later stages of perimenopause and menopause, how debilitating that is on people's life. When you look at suicide rates in females, highest amounts of suicide rates happen in that perimenopause, menopausal stage. Highest amounts of divorces happen in that stage as well.
And women dropping out of their jobs and thinking like they're losing the place.
And you go, we really need to get in touch with those overall hormones a little bit more. I think something we actually spoke about when we popped down that we've kind of missed over is there's two really good books that we would recommend, whether you be a young person listening to this and going, do you know what, I know nothing about my cycle and what's going on in my body, whether you be a mum thinking about it for your daughter and wanting to really know so that you can help support them when these things start to come up. So the first one would be Period Power by Maisie Hill. Is like an absolute introduction to what your cycle is, what to experience through it and what you can expect. I genuinely believe, see if they gave that to you in school.
Oh my God.
Gave you dedicated time to read that rather than putting you in the drama room and going, by the way, you're going to bleed, your mum's going to have pads and a tampon for you, and there you go, right? See if they give you that.
Yeah.
How empowering would that be for that generation then growing up understanding their body?
Yeah, definitely. And another book is How the Pill Changed Everything, or Changes Everything. So definitely worth a wee look, a wee listen and a wee read through for sure. We had a question set to us. We popped a post on in our Curves members page, and we had Megan and Leslie ask this question, and it was, how do you stay on track when your hormones are running wild? How do you stay motivated, and should you be doing the same amount as what you are doing when you're not super hormonal?
And I think it comes down to, you've really got to understand your body at the point in the cycle to know there is going to be that point when you've got your period that your energy levels are very, very low. Are you going to be high motivation at that point? Absolutely not. Are you going to find you're a little bit hungrier and you're wanting more food? Yes. See that, manage the expectations round about, right, okay, I've got my period just now. If you are counting calories, allow an extra 200 to 300 calories in at that point. If you're not counting calories, allow yourself an extra wee meal, a bigger snack, those kind of things, so that you go, right, this is okay. Because what happens is people get their period, they feel all this stuff and they go, shit, I don't know what to do here.
A bear with a sore head.
Yourself in the local shop getting the biggest bar of chocolate they can possibly find, because that's what they believe the solution is. So I would say on a nutritional front, that would definitely be my advice. What would you say about it more on a training front, Shivs?
From a training front, firstly, don't give up. Like, I think that's really important. You're not going to hit any personal bests at that time. You might, I'm generalising here, right? And I am generalising. Take it a wee bit slower, but still do your stuff. You might want to change up your style of training. So if you're used to going like really, really high impact classes or like really, really long runs, make it a wee bit slower. Take it down a few notches. Allow yourself to still feel. But exercise, see when you're feeling at that low ebb, when your hormones are really, really low period, exercise is very likely gonna lift you, even if it's just temporary. And it can actually help you manage like your pain levels and all of that kind of stuff as well. So I would say like that's there's a big part in that. But also knowing at like kind of what points in your cycle, like different foods actually work well for you as well. So like, seeing that last week just before you get your period, you need a little bit more carbohydrates to help you build progesterone. Like, that's needed. And I think that a lot of the time people go like that, like, I'm just so starving this week. And your body's preferred energy source is sugar. Right, so naturally you're going like that, right? I just want to eat everything, right? But if you know that that's what's happening, what you do is you just add a wee bit more carbs to your meals. You manage that, you make your portions just that wee tiny bit bigger. You make sure you've got enough protein in there to keep you fuller for longer. But when it comes, so I think like you've got the two sides. And do you know what? It's like I said, your period is like your superpower. You get to know that. You get to know what's happening in your body. It's actually so exciting. You don't think so?
No, it's huge. And you just go, I know I've said it maybe about 20 times in this podcast, you've got to get to know it. It's not a one size fits all when it comes to it. We can absolutely say what the trends and what what roughly is going to happen. But the more you get to know your body, the more you experiment with what's going to work, the more you really get to know what works for you, and that way you can absolutely start to thrive in your cycle, rather feeling like 2 weeks of your cycle you are thriving and the next 2 you're like struggling to survive. Your man thriving and nose diving. That's quite good.
I didn't mean that.
Good job, I like that.
But also, like, own it. Don't like, I really can't do it. And again, generalisation here. I know that some people really, really struggle, and I am not like taken away from that. Like, there's definitely, like, I know one of my coaches in one of my clubs, like, it's completely debilitating for her. So I am generalising here when I say that. Like, obviously, if you can't do it, you can't do it. But also, you don't blow smoke up your own arse.
Like, just in case you see an Instagram quote being like, oh, be in touch with your cycle. If you need to take the day off, take the day off. And because you're feeling a bit low, don't just patch it when you're actually, it's going to do you some good. Like, I think that's a big thing. Honestly, personally, training when I've got my period and that week up to it is my absolute saving grace. Like, it's a pure mood booster.
Even just temporarily.
Like, at that point, you're just like, right, okay, I feel good. Managing symptoms of it is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just being able to get a bit of movement, increase a bit of blood flow, get things moving. You're like, right, I feel better for that. And it's good to know what then works for you. Because, I mean, you can be a wee bit mad at that time.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got any stories of you being a bit of a crackpot during that time?
100%. I think I'm like a super emotional wee person. Like, so if you imagine I'm emotional, like, in life, right, the best thing.
No, you are not.
No, it's funny, there's only certain people that see the emotional side of me, so there's many people that listen.
I think I see it. I'm looking. Anyway,
move on. So, yeah, I remember picking up a weight. This was during lockdown, actually, training highs, and there was 10 kilo dumbbells. I don't know if it was because I was, like, hating life because we were in lockdown, but it was hormonal, and I remember just picking it up and, like, pure crying. I'm like, this is so hard. But I'm like, what is going on here? It's wild.
It is, it's crazy. And it just, like, see the thing, like, your logical brain at some points during your cycle, like, you cry at stuff. Like, I've dropped stuff and cried. Yeah. Like, and then the next day, been like, or something's happened, and I've got so upset about it. And then the next day, I was like, am I bonkers? Like, that was wild. I
think, personally, for me, my chimp runs a lot more wild when I'm hormonal. Like, there's no rationale, there's no cage for a couple of days, and like, there's some wild stuff goes through those 2 years, like, brain wise. But again, you get to know it. You know that that's going to be we talk a lot about, like, creativity as well, where your creativity feels at when you're in your cycle, and it's something that's actually quite different for us.
Yeah.
Where would you say you're most creative within your cycle?
Oh, I would say definitely those middle 2 weeks for me. Yeah, definitely. Like, I would say my creativity starts to rise. Like, my want to be around other people starts to arrive. Right, this is funny actually, because I am on day 23 my cycle right now, and I lose words at this point, don't I?
You do.
Right, this is a thing that happens to me, and it's probably going to really nicely move us on to the next point, because we're not just going to talk about periods here, we're going to talk about perimenopause and menopause. And that is a massive, like, byproduct of, and I'm not perimenopause, I don't think, quite all right just now, but losing the place, your words.
Yes.
That's a big challenge. And what am I like? I'll be like that. What is it?
And I'm like, is it this? I'm not the greatest with words, to be fair. So I'm like, is it this? Is it that? But you get there eventually. But that's something you identify.
And I'm just like,
you know where you're at in your cycle from there.
Yeah, and it can be so frustrating. And I think, like, that as I said, moves on really, really nicely to this next point, where we're going to speak about perimenopause and menopause and just how much of an effect it had. Now, you threw about some really cool stats there earlier on about menopausal women and, like, their health, like their mental health.
Honestly, like, it was wild. It was again down at an IFS event, and there was 2 girls taken on a talk. One of them being Amelia Thompson, and is it Emma Story Gordon or something like that, who are all about, like, hormone health. They've got some really cool stuff on, like, their social media as well. And we're sitting, and I was just watching away. A lot of it was, like, information that I kind of already knew or had heard about. And see, when they put out that stat that most divorces happen in those menopausal stages, the highest percentage of suicides in females happen in that mid-40 to early 50 stage. That's scary, right? Because that is exactly where a lot of people are going through this hormonal transition of perimenopause or menopause, depending at what point that they're actually at. And you go, see if there's not a support for that, see if there's not, again, the education given to that, you can totally understand, right, how some people go, how do I get out of this? Like, there is no solution.
And do you know what? Actually, to even go back to the last podcast that we just did, this disconnect. So at this point in the woman's life, our hormones are starting to really change.
Yep.
Like all of these hormones that are either flying high or they're going really, really low. And she doesn't have a social circle. She doesn't have a structure, a support around her. And she doesn't know who she is. And she doesn't feel like herself. She's changing.
Yeah.
And by the way, like, going through the menopause is also a very powerful stage for a woman. There's
absolutely.
there are really challenging parts of it, but there's good stuff at the end as well.
I think you made that really valid point. Like, there at that point a disconnect, right?
Yeah.
Things are starting to change within their body that they're like, what is going on here? I've never experienced this before. A lot of people at that point in their life, when they are in, like, if they're married in long-term relationships, we hear this quite a lot. I don't know if, like, I actually still like my husband now. I get to spend time with him.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, kids are maybe away. They've now got time where they can go out on a date night or they can go on a holiday themselves, and they joke about that. But it's a really sensitive point in a female's life where she's kind of out of touch with herself.
Yeah.
At the point that, like, estrogen, progesterone levels are all starting to change. No wonder those stats sit where they're at, but people don't know what's actually going on.
And see, if you think about when a female's hormones, when you're in a normal cycle, are at their lowest ebb, and what then is affected there, right?
Yes.
So you're more injury prone,
Yep.
right? Your mood's lower, your energy's lower, you're not sleeping as well. Like, you don't feel great, you don't want to be around a lot of people. If you're looking at that when you're getting your period and then into your luteal phase, and that is when, like, your hormones are going all over the place, you know? So if that is that, then what a woman is going through consistently, the byproduct to that on physical and emotional health is absolutely massive. And there's a lot of things that a lot of women probably don't even notice as a gentle knock at the door. Because we talk about this, don't wait for the whole front door to get booted in before you start taking action. This is something we speak about all of the time. It's about getting in tune and listening to what's not normal for your body. And if you are on a synthetic cycle and you're a woman of a certain age, I've heard this so many times. Oh no, but I've got a regular period, Siobhan. When I asked the question, when she's saying, do you know what, Shivs, actually my joints are getting pretty achy, and do you know what, my eyes are a wee bit dry, and do you know what, I'm really not feeling myself. And I'm like, how's your hormones? I am fine, I'm on the pill. How long have you been on that for? Oh, 30 years. Do you think there might be something in that? And then they go to the doctor or the nurse and they maybe get their bloods checked and they're normal. How do you know they're normal? Because there's never been any bloods taken before. And then how many women have you had that have came to the gym that they've went to the doctors, and what's happened is, or the nurse, and they've felt like a failure when they've left. No, I'm fine, my hormones are fine. You know what's happening in your body. You're in control of that. Like, you know what's happening and it's different.
And I think this is what's worrying, is when they come out of that doctor's office or nurse's room, when they've taken the courage to go in the first place. And as you say, they've done blood work. It's normal. Last time that blood work done was when? If ever. Right? They then are like, this is just the way I'm meant to feel. This is what, and I'm just going to pick a random age here because it's really important to know that, like, this is absolutely hormone related.
Not age related.
And not age related. It's not to say, right, at 45 you're going to experience this, at 46 you're going to experience that. But they might get to mid-40s and go, this is what my life is meant to be.
Yeah.
I've worked my absolute socks off my entire life, bringing up my family, keeping a roof over their heads. I was getting excited for that point in my life that me and my husband could do whatever we wanted to do. And this is how I feel. And then what tends to happen in turn with that is their mood and their mindset is so low that all the things that it can help them better this, they tend to step away from because it's just so hard.
Yeah.
You can understand.
Oh yeah, you definitely can.
If I think about where my hard 5 to 6 days on my period is, or in my cycle, before my period. See if I had to live like that.
Forever. Without any end, like without any
thinking
point.
That there was nothing else out
that
there
you
to
could do.
help.
Yeah.
It's huge. I think the really exciting thing is there's loads of things that you can then put into place.
Yes.
That can start to help.
Yeah. And I think like one of the empowering things about it is it's going to happen to every woman, right? We don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen to every woman. You can't control that's going to happen, but what you can control is how you manage it.
Yes.
And this is it. This is where we've got to get really, really passionate about it. And we've got to say, right, okay, do you know what? Grab this by the balls and let's go. Right? And I think that for us, we can't say that this is what it's going to feel like when you go into your period. But what we can look at is we can look at a couple of different things that would be highly beneficial to a woman going through, our menopause or our perimenopause. And the first thing is really, really looking at holding on to your muscle mass.
Massively.
So we've got to maintain your muscle mass, don't we?
That's got to be step number 1.
Yeah. Step number 2, I would say, we need sleep and recovery.
Yep.
You've got to allow your body to rest and recover. Now, sleep.
That's another series, by the way.
That's another series, but sleep. We talk about this, and any woman that's listening to this is going through the menopause shouting at me, I can't get to sleep. But this is a big, big issue, right? On you go, were you going to ask?
No, on you go.
Right. See, when we consume enough protein, right, our body can synthesize more amino acids, right? They're the foundations for all hormones, right? So if we consume enough protein, we in turn should be able to produce more serotonin. More serotonin should then be able to, we should produce melatonin on top of that, which should help us sleep. Right. So if we are feeling low, we're not feeling great, we're going through perimenopause and we're struggling with our sleep, the first thing that I direct a female to do is get that protein up. Let's see if we can try and start these building blocks for your hormones. So I would say that that's a big thing. And then that can only help with the strength training.
Huge.
Preserving muscle mass.
I think also the basics of your sleep, though, as well, can't be underestimated. So, like your sleep hygiene.
Oh, yeah.
How many people, I get a shite sleep every single night. Right, okay, what time are you going to your bed at? Maybe like 11, half 11. Right, what are you doing before that? I'm like watching the telly, or I lie in my bed on my phone.
Yeah.
And you go, right, you've got to be able to start to have a routine. Can't expect, think about a baby.
Yes.
I take it back to absolute basics. Babies absolutely have routine for their sleep, and they get their circadian rhythm sorted out. As we kind of become an adult and as we age, we kind of unravel all that good work into the complete opposite. So see, when you're getting to a point where sleep is really hard, you've really got to be able to dial back to the basics of setting yourself a limit on screen time.
Yeah.
When is that going to go down? Making sure that, like, bare minimum half an hour before you're getting ready to shut your eyes, right? Having something that is going to help you relax. For some people, that's listening to white noise. It's having a guided meditation on, or reading their book. And then having a time that you're going to be like, lights out, in an environment that you're comfortable. Right, making sure that your bedroom is a place that you feel relaxed.
Right, shut up.
Honestly, and I've been decorating my room for 3 weeks. FYI, if you listen to podcast 1, this was something I should have outsourced, right? But anyway, moving on. See, when you go on a KO most nights, sleep is not an issue. But I'm like, see, if I struggled, man, would I feel relaxed in here? Right?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't. So it's important that you've got to feel relaxed. And then going, right, my sleep actually isn't good. See, if you're not doing any of that pre-work, you can't expect the outcome to be a solid 8 hours sleep at night. Also, for females at this age, set yourself a limit when you last drink water, because the next comeback is, but I just get up every single hour to go for a pee.
Yeah.
So I would say that, yes, protein, as you touch on, is massively important. But I think even before you get to that, there's so many basics. Even with doing that, you've got to make sure you're doing the work on that side of it.
Definitely. And just being really protective of your time when you are going to your bed, for sure. Because I think that if you don't create the habits and the routines like we're talking about, and we let things just kind of slide, then everything's just going to get a bit tougher.
Absolutely.
Alcohol. Oh my God, we spoke about in the last one, the last episode, about how alcohol, your body metabolises it really, really differently as you get older, and how you handle it's different. You might be noticing that if you have a glass of wine, you're getting the wine rash, the wine glow, and you actually feel really, really different the next day. But alcohol has such a big effect on your sleep. Like you kind of get into the last sleep cycle with it, so that can have quite a negative effect. So if you're already going through the menopause, you're having hot flashes, you drink the alcohol, you're getting these flushes, you probably know what I'm talking about if you're listening to this, and then you kind of get to sleep.
Try to go to bed straight
Aye, and then you wake up at 3 a.m. and you're roasting hot, and then you're freezing, and then you're pissed because he's snoring. Like, how's he getting to sleep? Do you know what I mean? Stab vest. We're going to talk about the stab vest. I don't know if we're allowed, are we?
My mum and dad will kill me for this, right? When I love yous dearly. We've got a joke. So my mum's name's Rosalind. We call her Menopause. So that is step number one.
She loves that, by the way.
But my dad just always joke. He'd be like, "Oh, get your stab vest on the day your mum's having one of those days." He'd be like, "I need a Kevlar vest to live with her." And I think like you joke about it, right? And my mum takes it in good form, so she does. But I'm sure there's that wee bit in her head that probably goes, "I hate being this way."
Yeah.
Right? Because your temperament changes, your mood is all over the shop. You're in a roller coaster. Therefore, your patience one day is great. Your patience the next day is absolutely not there. You've then got emotions that then come all over the place. If you're naturally an emotional person, you then go into perimenopause, menopause, and it's just an absolute wild roller coaster, right?
You just need to say, "I love you, Rose," and she's a darling, isn't she? She is a darling.
But I think it's important that we also talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because as we say, every single female is going to go through this. We're all going to experience different experiences. It's going to be at a different point in our life. We're going to have its own challenges. See, if we talk about it enough, we can all share your own learnings that might actually help.
Yeah.
I think it is definitely talked about a lot
more
now than what it was. But I do think through connecting groups of females together, it can only be talked about more and actually have solutions to it. It's one thing to talk about something, but it's another to have solutions that you can actually put into place, which is really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right in what you're saying. See, probably over maybe, I would say, since lockdown, potentially, there's been a lot more, it's been a buzzword. It has been, and a lot of companies are like bringing on menopause experts into like their HR teams and all of that kind of stuff, which I think is great, because there are certain points that women just feel like you're potentially losing, like, as I would say, you're losing the place a wee bit. You're maybe like forgetting words and all of that kind of stuff, and that can be, it can make you feel inadequate in your role.
And it's huge, but you can also see the impact that it has on like relationships at that point.
Oh yeah,
well.
definitely.
And we're talking about like that divorce rate of, see, if men don't know about this, how can they understand
and support
that when their wife flies off the handle over what they believe is the daftest thing ever? How can they not get annoyed at that?
Yeah.
They've got to know and they've got to understand it. Remember when I remembers Lisa and Irvin actually's work ran like a menopause course and offered it to all males and females so that they could support each other better in the workplace. And I think that's huge, but also so they could support in their home life a lot better. And you go, wow,
that is amazing.
That's huge.
That is amazing. And I think that if there is or are any men listening to this, it is absolutely your job to take care of your female, right? And she's going to go through this, and you've got to know what to be aware of. I think I read this, it was like an open letter to men from a man, right? And it was, I remember reading it, and I'm going to say the F word here, and it was like, there was a part in it, and it was just, learn when to shut the fuck up, right? Just know that this is not her, but know that like what she's going to like go through here is going to transform her into this energy force. Like once you get to this point where everything starts to settle at the end of it, you're going to go through this really hard time, this transformative time where you're maybe going to be a little bit crazy emotional, absolutely tender and loving 1 minute, and then stab vest in the next minute, but you're going to come out the other side of this like this well-rounded, self-assured, strong female. And I think we don't speak about that point enough.
Yes, because it's a transition phase to get to that.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't go through that transition, you don't get that good point where you feel you are at your absolute best, able to live your best life, feel like you're ready for whatever life's ready to throw at you. But we focus so much on all that really hard bit in between. See if we can just have the solutions and the coping mechanisms to help.
Yes.
With that hard bit, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
But I think the issue is a lot of people don't know or see that there is that little bit of glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. They've just got to be willing to put that bit of work in.
in
to get
between.
them to that point.
Yeah. So to wrap that up then, we've got to stay active. We've got to get outside. We've got to do our strength training to help us control our bone density levels, maintain our muscle mass, connect with other females. We've got to make sure that we're consuming the right foods. We're staying away from high sugar foods because we know that as our metabolisms change, that our insulin sensitivity can really change. That can have quite a negative effect on our cellular energy. We want to make sure that we're doing that. We want to make sure that we're sleeping well.
Yes.
We're consuming enough water. We need to be well hydrated. We always need to be well hydrated.
Don't be afraid to reach out to the supplements that can actually help you.
Yeah.
I think this is huge, like say collagen.
Yeah.
At this point in your life where things are starting to feel a lot sorer.
Yeah.
Like joints are really uncomfortable. Things that felt like they moved fine, or I've got this pain, what's going on here? The changes that are then starting to happen, skin texture, happening with your hair, nails, as your hormones start to change. Supplementing collagen back into that
Definitely.
can be a massive, massive benefit at that point as well.
Yeah, definitely. So looking at those things that can they can actually help. Go to your doctor. If you're not happy, ask for a second opinion, right? Look at holistic health and well-being. Look at the different options that are available to you. One size does not fit all. Your female body, like, get to know it. Get to know her from just now at my age, or if you're in your 20s, get to know what's going to get like, educate yourself.
Massively.
It's like your body, it's your responsibility.
It's so important. And if you're at a point that you've maybe never tracked your cycle and you're not really sure what's going on, start to research so that you know what's then actually happening in your body.
There's a brilliant app, it's called Health and Her.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really great app as well. Like, that's for more kind of women going through menopause and perimenopause. You said something about getting up for a pee all the time earlier on. This one, it's got an app inside it that you can do your pelvic floor exercises, and it reminds you every day to do those kind of things as well. So those are kind of the top tips. So you're never going to stop yourself going through it, but you can manage how well or how badly you go through it. If you drop the ball completely, then it's probably going to be a lot harder. But if you pick that ball up and run with it to the end,
Huge.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, and you're a superpower at the end of it.
Yeah. There might be bits that you can't control of it, but there's so many bits that you can actually control. And if you do that, you're going to get to that turning point.
Yes.
Which brings us to this really...
I'm not ready.
Turning point. So, series 1 for us was always going to have 6 episodes in it.
Yeah.
And the plan was do that and then take a short little break.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the case.
Yeah. So we are going to be coming back with the next season in July time. So make sure you set your alarms for that. There'll be loads on the page. But what I wanted to say, or what we both wanted to say, was thank you for so much for listening to us. We've absolutely loved this.
Loved it.
From something that was just an idea that we were a wee bit nervous about to kind of get off the ground, because you're all of the things that you think. But we put that aside and we were brave and we said, you know what, we've got a message that we want to present to the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And see all those messages of support, like, they really, really do spur us on. It's like we confidence boosts that we're doing the absolute right thing and we're going to be able to make a change. So we are buzzing to come back early July with series 2, and there might be a wee cheeky vlog of a love trails trip. So we are heading down... June? July to a festival down in Wales called Love Trails, which is ultimately like a running festival.
It's a running festival, yeah.
So our plan is to vlog some of the experience on that and share that with you guys as well. But we will be back real soon, so we will.
So if you can continue to follow us and share on the social media platforms that we have, we're also going to be having some coffee and catch up dates. So if it's something that you would love to connect with us, we would love to see you all there. So keep an eye on all of the pages, add yourself into the group that we have on Facebook. You're all invited to come along. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for listening to the Sisterhood Circle podcast. Over and out. Bye.